Hi, welcome to Hygge and Homeschool. My name is Maya, and today I am going to be going a little bit more in depth about how I teach grammar to my 5th grader. So in my video for 5th grade curriculum picks, I briefly showed you this grammar binder and I showed you these books, but I didn't go in depth with how I'm gonna use this binder, and someone asked me, so now I'm gonna share how I plan to use this. We just started the year, so we haven't gotten to use it that much yet, but here are my thoughts. So every day she does 2 pages in this. This is the fundamentals of grammar from Evan Moore Language Fundamentals. So here she gets, the hardcore grammar, how you have to capitalize at the beginning of a sentence. You have to always stop with either punctuation mark, exclamation mark, question mark, how a sentence structure is. So that is like her hardcore everyday grammar. So I know that she gets that in. And English is my second language, so there is some things where I have to look them up, or that might be different in Danish, and we can talk about those whenever she has questions and so on. But this is what she does on her own, her independent work. Then I have this binder, and how we go into that, I initially wanted to follow this book. I didn't make it exactly like like it. I think I changed a little bit, but I tried to follow it. But she's already way ahead, and we just started school slowly up. But how I do with the binder is, if we put this aside, is that we go into nouns, and I want to open the language up for her a little more. So we talk about what is a noun, for instance. Then we would, on our Tuesday, go in. She probably would read this on her own about nouns. Then we would start talking. Where do you use a lot of nouns? It could be a grocery list. It could be a recipe. It could be when you play I Spy with your baby sister. List of stuff, basically. We talk about the grammar with a noun. First thing comes to mind, plural, singular, possessive S. So we go a little bit into the hardcore grammar. But we also open it up to other languages. For instance, nouns in Danish would be sea turtle would be one word, coffee cup, school bus, dining room table, children's books. Things that we divide in English into 2 words, it's hammered into us as Danish children. We put them together as 1 word. So also the different in how you use nouns. We'll do the same with adjectives. This would be, for instance, a describing poem. In books, it would be where you described character settings and how you use them. And then as we get along, we could take verbs. Of course, there you would have the tenses, you would have the hardcore grammar. But how I use the binder is also opening it up beyond that. So I would say, we had the recipe up here. What are the other words in the recipe? So we had pour the milk, stir it in, melt, whatever you use. So recipes would often be verbs and nouns together, a lot of those. It could be an action scene, like you run, you jump, you fight, and then we could use it in different writing. So I don't divide writing as much. I have some writing that I know I'm gonna get through, but grammar is a little bit of a wild card that I kind of sprinkle over all of it. And then when we've gone through a lot of them, we get to this exciting one, sentences. How do you build a sentence? What happens if I put a lot of nouns? What happens if I take out the adjectives or put more adjectives or put more verbs or take them out? And then of course we have the whole, we need to make it right, capitalize, commas, whatever it ends, if it ends in an exclamation mark. And then, we have the usual punctuation, spelling, and then vocabulary is through books where we might look at poems or books she reads, fantasy that has like some weird middle-aged stuff or whatever words. So now I'm sorry I'm mixing it around, but it's because it will be kind of mixed around throughout units and writing and spelling. So that is how I use grammar and teach grammar, not as like only grammar and only go through for instance, here the plural and singular, but also what does the different things do to the language. Like we could talk like Mr. Yoda and try and reverse the sentence structure. Of course we're not going to go super deep because it is 5th grade, it's not high school or college, but that is how I use the binder, to look at different text, to look at, of course, the hardcore grammar, which she gets a lot of from this and this, but to look at what does it do to the language, these different ones, and how can we use sentences. There's probably very different how you would address a very non-fiction subject where you had to describe it. Like you wouldn't put a lot of emotional beautiful, you would put like it was a hard surface, it was, and so on. I feel like I'm babbling a little bit here, but that is how I think of grammar. And maybe it is that English is my second language, so I see the language from the outside in and not from the inside out. So I feel it's a little different from most grammar curriculums, but that is how we do it. And I am so curious how other people do it, if you have like a hardcore grammar curriculum, or if you kind of explore like us and chew poetry and other text up and look at it more from that perspective. I don't think there's any wrong or right way to teach it, but we're both very much into language and reading and writing and into poetry. So this is a fun way for us to explore grammar and explore the language a little more. I would love if you would comment if you have any awesome advice for grammar or anything that you love using. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.